Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zandela Seka and I hope that you are all well. If you are new to this channel, please do not forget to subscribe. Today I want to do a video on a very complicated process, and that process is buying land in Gambia. I have just witnessed 5 of my friends go through a really horrific experience of buying land, and I feel like it is now time for me to share the knowledge that I have on how to buy land successfully in Gambia. If you're interested in this information, stay tuned. The land buying process in Gambia is long and it is very complicated. Unless you are a Gambian or someone living in Gambia, you will not understand half of this process. So I personally spoke to the assistant director at the physical planning department just to clarify some of the information that I had and to make sure that he went through the entire process with me to make sure that I am accurate. He has worked there for over 25 years and spent a long time on the phone with me going through the entire process. And I am also going through the process myself of buying land. So I want to give you as much knowledge as I can about the process of buying land. So step 1 is finding your piece of land. So you can do this in several different ways. There are several YouTubers who actually can help you buy land. There are several estate agents in Gambia where you can also contact them to see about buying land. I've been in the process of buying land for about 4 months, and 3 plots of land that I had investigated were actually owned by someone else. I was about to buy land, it was a large plot, and then I found out that the land was actually owned, but only 3/4 of the land that they were trying to sell me was actually owned by Jat Oil. In the picture you can see that the red line is owned by Jat Oil and the white line is what they were trying to sell to me. Another plot of land that I was in the process of buying was actually sold, and the older brother who lives in the provinces actually sold it to someone else without the other family members knowing. But when the investigation was done at physical planning, it showed who the real owner was and the date that it was sold to them. So I would suggest that you get the investigation done. Currently, the physical planning department does not have an investigation team that investigate land before you actually purchase it, which is really bad, especially for people like us from the diaspora who do not live in Gambia, do not know the full system of buying land. Technically, it is part of the clearance that the actual seller would do. This document is a land use report and it is part of the clearance that you would get after investigation. I forgot to mention that when you get your use of land report over, it is important to check that the land is residential and that it's not agricultural or commercial. If you do buy land that is agricultural land and you want to do a change of use over to residential, it does cost you a lot of money at the Lands and Surveys department. When I personally spoke to the assistant director of physical planning, I did suggest to him that this would be a really good department to try and put in place, especially for people from the diaspora who want to relocate to Gambia, and also for Gambians who want to buy land, because it gives us the opportunity to make sure that that land is free from any dispute, free from government hold, which is like an embargo, free from TDA land, and the TDA land means that that land is reserved only for tourist development and you cannot purchase TDA land. It is only leased to you so that you can build or create some sort of tourist attraction on that land. How we have started our land process is by having someone go down from the physical planning department that we have paid. So my husband has actually physically gone to physical planning, collected one of the technicians, taken them down to the potential land. They then have a GPS tracking system where they will stand on the actual land, they will put in the coordinates of the land. Those coordinates will go directly back to the physical planning department, and on their system it will show you who currently owns the land and give you as much history as they have on that piece of land. This is something new that physical planning have only had in place for about a year. and they normally only do this when you are going to get your official transfer. I have suggested to the Director of Physical Planning that they actually allow people to do this investigation before they part way with their money to buy land. Once you know that the land is free from dispute, it's not TDA land and it's not owned by anybody else, then you can negotiate the price of the land with the owner. You can either pay in full once you know that it's actually clear, or you can request for a payment plan, which a lot of people do, and normally the sellers of the land do not have a problem with. It's a receipt that has the seller's signature on and the buyer's, and also has 2 witnesses that were stamped by the AKALO. We also had a sales agreement written up, and if you are doing a payment plan, I would advise that. As part of the investigation, if you manage to get it done before you part way with any money, the investigation should give you a sketch plan of the area, because they are investigating a particular area for you. So they should be able to give you a sketch plan that is done by the physical planning department. In that sketch plan, it will show you exactly where your plot of land is in the area. This is the official location sketch plan that is done by the physical planning department. Aware that non-Gambians cannot buy land that is under 1.5 kilometers from the sea, and they also cannot buy a plot of land that is bigger than 2,500 meters square. So once you've got the sketch plan from the investigation, the owner of the land should then obtain you a local transfer from the AKALO. Local transfer document should have everybody's signature on it, and it should be stamped by the AKALO. If you set up a payment plan, normally the seller will ask you to actually pay for the local transfer from the AKALO, which is very normal. If you're going to pay in full, then the seller will normally pay for the local transfer to be done by the AKALO. So after you've got your local transfer from the seller of the land, you then take that down to the physical planning department along with the sketch plan that you should have got from the initial investigation of the land. When you are at the physical planning department, what you are asking for is for your sketch plan to be approved so that you can transfer your local transfer into an official transfer. Once you have an approved sketch plan, you can then take your local transfer, your approved sketch plan, down to the Echo Bank and pay for your official transfer to be completed. The official transfer roughly cost about 7,000 Dalasi. So after you've got your receipt from the Echo Bank, you then take that receipt down to the area council. The area council will then give you your official transfer documents. They give you about 6 copies of this document, and every copy needs to be stamped. On your official transfer document, there is normally a space for all of the people involved in selling the land to sign, as well as the AKALO to stamp the document and the village chief. You then need to take your official transfer to the sellers of the land. If there are 3 or 4 or 5 brothers or sisters who are all involved in the selling of the land, it is best that you get all of them to sign your local transfer as well as your official transfer. If you have 4 people's names on your local transfer, but you've only got 3 signatures on your official transfer, you will have problems getting the village chief to sign your paperwork. After the AKALO has signed your official transfer, you then need to take that official transfer down to the village chief. The village chief will then sign and stamp your document. In our experience, the village chief refused to sign our document because we didn't have all of the signatures from all of the family members on the official transfer that were the same amount of signatures that were on the local transfer. After you have done all of that, you then need to go back to the area council, and you have to get the CEO of the area to sign and stamp all of your paperwork. The CEO at the area council will sign all copies of your documents. You need to make sure that a copy goes to the AKALO and to the village chief. Please be aware that the CEO of the area will not sign your paperwork and stamp it unless you have paid your income tax or capital gains tax on your piece of land. And how you do that is you go down to the GRA office. In the sales agreement, you should agree if you are going to pay the capital gains tax or if the seller is going to pay. It should be paid by the seller. However, some people give you a discount on the land with the promise that you are going to cover the capital gains tax. You take your official transfer with you In my opinion, just take all of your land documentation with you, go down to the GRA office and they will let you know how much you need to pay. I believe that the tax is between 8% and 15% of the land. After you've paid your capital gain tax, you're then sent to the area council to go and pay your yearly land tax. On an empty plot of land, it's about 150 dalasi, which is about £2. Only after you have received all of these documents will you then be able to obtain your permit for either building or putting up your fence around your land. So I'm just going to go through that one more time just to make it a little bit more simple for everybody. So step 1, you need to find your piece of land and you can negotiate the price. Step 2, before you make any payments for your land, you need to make sure that that land is investigated and that it is free from any dispute, free from any embargo, not reserved land and not TDA land. After you've done the investigation, you should get a sketch plan and a total investigation of what the land is or the history of the land. After you've done the investigation, you should get a sketch plan of the total area that will pinpoint your actual plot of land within the area. Once you have got that documentation back, you can then contact the seller and you can arrange to make payment. You can pay in full, or a lot of sellers will actually allow you to pay using a payment plan at each stage of the process. Once you have set up a payment plan or paid in full, the seller of the land will then contact the local AKALO and will get you your local transfer. After you have your physical copy of your local transfer, you need to take it down to the physical planning department along with your sketch plan, and you need to have it approved by the physical planning department. You then take your local transfer and your approved sketch plan down to the Eco Bank, and you will then pay 7,000 dalasi to have your official transfer documents started. You then take your receipt that you received from the Eco Bank down to the area council. The area council will then give you copies of your official transfer documents. These official transfer documents first need to be taken to the sellers of the land and they need to sign. Once you've got the signature from all of the sellers, you then take your official transfer to the AKALO and ask the AKALO to stamp and sign. You usually get about 6 copies of your official transfer and the AKALO will need to stamp and sign every single copy. Once you've got your official transfer signed and stamped by the village AKALO, you then need to find the village chief and get a stamp and a signature from the village chief. Again, you need to get it stamped and signed on every single document. The village chief will not sign and stamp the document if you do not have the signature from the AKALO and the stamp, and they will also not sign it if all family members have not signed the paperwork. You then take all of your signed and stamped paperwork down to the GRA office where you will pay your income tax or capital gains tax, which is basically a land tax for purchasing. I'm guessing in the UK it's probably similar to paying your stamp duty. Once you have paid your tax, your stamp duty, you have everything stamped and signed by all the official bodies that should stamp and sign all your documents. You then can take everything down to the area council again, and you will get the CEO of the area that you have purchased your land will then stamp and sign it with his stamp and signature. Only then can you take all these documents down to the physical planning department so that you can apply for your permit to build your fence or even start building your house. At the bottom of your clearance documents, it does say you must obtain a permit before you can commence any work. So that's it, guys. I hope that I have explained the land buying process to you all so that if you are going to buy land in the future, you can keep this video. Make sure that you are following the correct steps. As you can see, it is a long, lengthy process, and if you are not based in Gambia, you will have to pay someone who can do this for you. All of the people who are out there who say that they do not get any money from you purchasing land through them, I don't think that it's a good idea to do that, because the process is lengthy. It takes a lot of days, a lot of driving around, and you have to go to several different departments in order to get the official documents done. I would suggest that you find someone who you trust who can do all of this running around for you. Thank you very much for watching my channel, guys. If you are new to this channel, again, please do not forget to subscribe, and if this information can be useful to anybody that you know, please do not forget to share. Take care.